Sorry for the late night, folks. X isn't working. X is not connecting. So, for all of the people who have been complaining, I'm about to lose a decent audience size. For all of the people that have been complaining that they've had issues with X, I can tell you right now that we have experienced the same issues. And others, I just don't complain about it, but it is real. I will try one more time, and then if not, we're gonna kick off. Sometimes it does allow you to connect in the middle of it. I can't wait forever here. Like it's adding it right now, but I bet you it won't go live. We've reconnected it a million times. Nope, it just won't do it. So yeah, I mean that's not look, guys. I don't know. They got something wrong with their stuff. So sorry for the X people, which is the biggest audience. Sorry for, well, actually, I think Getter is, honestly. Anyway, let's get this party started. Yeah, you're gonna have to lower it, big guy. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna kill that. We're gonna kill it. All right, welcome to It's Between the Numbers today with your host, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit. All right, don't forget if you like the videos to like them and to share them far and wide. I don't expect very many of you to know we were going live because I really just sent a thing on locals that was like, hey, I'm gonna go live in a little bit. So sorry for the late thing. You know, first day of school back. I hope you guys, if you had the same experience as me, I hope you had a good day back. I told locals this story this morning. I put it up on the board. But before we get into that, or anything else for that matter, which really I want to focus on what we're going to poll in South Carolina. Before we get into that, don't forget to follow the new Graham and the TikTok, peoples.pundit on TikTok, and Instagram is the same as it is on X, at peoples_pundit. And of course, we're everywhere on YouTube, on locals, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Getter, on Truth. Getter and Truth, it's at People's Pundit. I will put the link to the public polling project in the comments if you guys haven't seen it yet. This is going to be the national poll that we're going to do is going to be a large poll. And there's a reason for that. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Newsom has completely crashed in the prediction markets. I could have told you he was overvalued. I did tell you he was overvalued. But this happened a little bit before we even got into the reality of this thing. He's overvalued because Newsom would not be able to get through a Democratic primary, which is about 45% non-white now at any given year. And Newsom has no black support. He would have needed to put together relationships with black belt Democrats. And he is a coastal white elite. That is, yeah. Unless you have a very long Washington insider track record, career, it just doesn't work, man. It's oil and vinegar. It is. They tend to not like each other, these groups of people. That's the truth of it. My trade's about to settle. Amen. That's a winner. Yeah, so they just don't really like each other. He's a governor of California. It's not like, and by the way, another contender, Harris, seems to be gearing up to run again. And Harris has more of a relationship with some of these than others. Pete Buttigieg as well is way, way, way overvalued because Pete Buttigieg does very well in Iowa. He does very well in New Hampshire. The Democrats in Iowa and New Hampshire didn't even really put up a fight in the permanent rescheduling of the primary calendar. And now they have front loaded. They've gotten rid of, it tells you how much they care about whites in this country. It really is testament to the Democratic Party being a party of non-whites and a party of self-loathing whites. Pete Buttigieg is a Midwest gay man. He's not going to play well in South Carolina, y'all. Okay. And it's not only because of the South, it's because black churches and black Democrats don't like white gay men, right? Let's just call it how it is, all right? The term down low came out of the black community because it's true. We got to have a little bit of a culture history here. She's laughing over there, but it came out of the black community, actually, because it was so taboo to be gay in the black community. Now, that has gotten better, but they are still relatively conservative on certain core traditional issues like abortion, even though they do have more abortion rate by ethnicity than any other ethnic group. That's just true. And it's because of economic reasons. We know that from abortion statistics tracking. And then, which a lot of blue states don't contribute to because they're garbage. They're evil. They don't want you to know how many babies they're killing each year. And by the way, the state of Massachusetts just became the 10th state last week, I believe it was, or 2 weeks ago, to legalize abortion after birth, up until birth, or isn't it? Yeah, up until birth. No, I think there are some reasons why you can. The mental health of the mother is one of the reasons. That's particularly concerning, of course, because we have depression. It's a real thing. And like mommy being depressed that her breasts are sagging is not a legitimate reason to kill a human life. And why does that concern me? Because of what white women say when they tell the abortion statistics what their primary reason is for having an abortion. Oh, I don't want this baby. It's an economic inconvenience. I got a career I got to get through. I really don't want my breast to sag. This is outrageous. Hispanic women, they do not have abortions like white women do, and black women, and Asian women do not. So just so you guys were, in case you guys were curious about that, it comes from black females who have sometimes feel like they have no economic recourse to take care of the child. And it comes from white women who use it as birth control and as body control operations. It's disgusting. I'm sorry, but I have zero tolerance for it. I look at it, and the older I get, the more I look at it, guys, is like the modern human sacrifice ritual. You know what I'm saying? Like every time a baby is killed, a viable pregnancy is killed, like Moloch is like, yes, give them to me. I think it's disgusting. And once I was never always like this. I wasn't. I consider myself like pretty anti-abortion at this point. I know people who are the product of rapes. I've talked to people, met people who are, including one who's just an amazing man. And if his mother aborted him, the state of Texas would be less of it would be a darker place to live, because he's just such a wonderful person. And I don't know. I think when you become a parent and you see the sonograms, which is part of what I was talking about on Locals today, I think it just dawned on me when I saw my son's sonogram. We had two, one before gender reveal, which in New Jersey, you actually don't have a traditional gender reveal because of the stupid liberals who sued. Oh, yeah. This is like one lawsuit was about this woman. She was told it was a boy, so she painted her room blue. Or no, she was told it was a girl, so she painted her room pink and got all this girl stuff and was so happy she was having a baby girl. And then, oops, the sonogram missed the penis. So like it came out a boy. Of course, it was a boy. And she sued the hospital. She was depressed because it's a boy. This is what they get away with in New Jersey. Go look up the original McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit. This is the shit like what happens when trial lawyers have too much power. These like slip and fall scumbags, them too. They're basically like unionized up there. It's disgusting. Anyway, I know I'm kind of getting off the beaten path, but today, you know what? Maybe I should just read it because I do want everyone to know. I do want everyone to hear this because once in a while we need a break from politics, and especially with everything that's going on now, it really feels like the world is a dark place and shit's just not going right. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who feel, what's the word? Betrayed. They're unhappy, right? Sometimes we need to get out of our own political heads where we obsess, and we need to remember there are other things, okay, in life. And I know that's like, I spend my entire life in politics, almost now, the vast majority of it. And I spent most of my children's lives fighting for it. So, in one way, shape, or form. So, I'm not the one to lecture somebody, but maybe in a way I am because I'm getting older now. And let me just read this, okay? Back to school. I had a 17-year plus flashback this morning. And when I say flashback, I mean a flashback. And my vets out there, you know, when you have a flashback and it brings you back to the moment, like people don't really understand. A flashback brings you into the moment again. It's almost like you're there. It's not like, oh, I'm getting like heart palpitations and my anxiety is getting to me. No, like you're in the moment again. That's what happened to me today, only in a different way. It almost felt like not deja vu. It's weird. It was a flashback, like a legit flashback. Anyway, the first day back to school, we all get up early, right? We enjoy the morning together. My daughter was up banging ice at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's her first day of college. First day of high school. I'm like, oh my God, baby, what are you doing, girl? Banging. It's like, you want an iced coffee? Is that what you're trying to do? Anyway, we all get up in the morning together and we make sure everyone's prepared. We can enjoy the time together. Just so everybody is, my oldest is now a senior in high school and he got an amazing shadow job, which will look great on his college transcripts. He wants to be an aerospace engineer. My daughter is now a freshman in high school. And our youngest midlife crisis baby, Rora, is now just 7. He just turned 7 and in second grade. So we had our 21st wedding anniversary. Then we had Roman's 7-year birthday. And now we're doing this school year, which is a special school year. This will be let me get into this and you'll understand. This will be the last year we're all together. Of course, Rose still loves taking the bus because he's young and it's still cool. But until my son finds a car, which translates into until dad finds him and buys him a car, because he did save up money and he's going to use it because that boy's going to learn the value of $1. But it is better for him to take this non-paying job for college than it is for me to make him go get a paying job. It's a real job. It's just an academic job where he will shadow engineers in the military who work on fighter jets, and also it's really cool. So it's an amazing opportunity and experience, and I just can't have him miss out on it. So he's been saving money for years and years and years. He's going to have to use that, but unfortunately I'm going to have to kick out for the car anyway. So until I do, I decided to drive them while we dropped Laura off and the little one at the bus stop. I'm like, all right, let's go. I mean, you don't want to show up your first day in a bus. My daughter hates buses. Tough beans, but when he gets a car, he can drive her and they can drive together. He's got a senior parking spot. We painted it, and by I mean Laura. And it was everyone's got a theme. My son's an Iron Man guy, loves Iron Man. She literally painted Iron Man in his senior parking. And it's cool. All the seniors, they do this. It's a weird thing at this school where they get the backpack. It's like a kid's backpack for senior year. And it's something you like or did like when you were little. So some people are walking around with I saw a girl who had a Sophia the First bag. I didn't even know they had that show anymore. And my son gets Iron Man and it's his mini backpack. By the way, book club, because you saw it. And I swear to God, because it came from overseas, I swear to God, they smuggled drugs in it because I opened that box up and all I smelled was marijuana. And I mean strong. I feel like they opened that pup out, took a brick, and then sewed it back up after it got through customs. I kid you not. It stunk that bad. Anyway, pulling into the drop-off at high school, which is a really funny story, I thought the cop that was in front of me was the officer that's at the school who is my daughter's dance instructor's husband. It's a very, very nice, cool community here. And I think it's him. And so I'm behind him and I'm laying on my horn like, yo, asshole. And this cop is like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, oh my God, I did not realize. I thought you were Deputy so-and-so. Oh my God. I thought for sure I was going to get a ticket because I was acting like an idiot. I was riding up his butt. I was like, doing it. It was just, we messed with each other. So I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, it's not him. And thank God he was actually taking his kid to school too. So he just let it slide. It was really, really funny. Anyway, so we pull up to the drop off at school. I tell them I love them. I do my thing, have a good day. And as usual, this is a family thing. I've been saying this since they were little. I believe in the power of positive thinking. Truly. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it before. One day maybe we'll talk about it, but I am a believer in The Secret. And if you don't know what The Secret is, then I don't know how to explain this to you. But it's been around for literally thousands of years, and some of the most successful and richest people in the world abide by The Secret and have for many years. The secret is that you manifest things because we all have divinity in us. And that, not like you're God, but if you're negative, negative will be attracted to you. If you're positive, positive things will be attracted to you. And I can dumb it down and just say it's more than that, but I will dumb it down and just say it like that. So since they were kids, I always told them, if you start your day negative, your day is going to be crappy. If you start your day positive, no matter what, you get what you put into things. If you have a crummy attitude doing something, it's not going to end up well for you. So very simply, when they were little, I started saying, remember, positive in, positive out, to help them understand it. And so I tell them that on the way. And the cute thing is that they're like, we know, Dad, positive in, positive out. And anyway, I watched them take a selfie together that Laura wanted because she wanted a picture. And they're so funny. They're like, Dad, come on, Mom's crashing out. You can't be standing out there with the camera taking a picture in front of the school like you're embarrassing. And I was like, I won't do it to you. I know it's embarrassing. Just it's still cool to take a selfie. Just go, hey, take a selfie together. Send it to your mother. Come on. So they do. And then right before walking away, I just pull my oldest son over and I'm like, yeah, remember, watch out for your sister. And he looked at me and he said, I know, Dad, don't worry. I'll take care of her. I got this. And like in that moment, I just, boom, I had this flashback to the hallway in the hospital in New Jersey where we were getting ultimately he was born in this hospital, but where we were getting a sonogram, I think at like the 16-week mark. What do you get one at? Like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, to see if the heartbeat's good. You can get some pictures to put on your refrigerator, which by the way is when I became anti-abortion, because not only did I see a baby's face, regardless of the fact that they are not fully developed, you can clearly see the profile of a human being, and his little hands were even developing. Like, that's a baby. That's a human being. I'm sorry they lied to you and you're killing babies. Like, if you've ever had an abortion, I'm so sorry. It isn't a blob of cells. It's a baby. That is a human life. And I remember looking at that screen and being like, oh my God, they got me. They got me like supporting baby killing. Like it just dawned on me in that moment. Anyway, this was the second one. And I had this flashback being in this hallway before the sonogram. And they were getting ready to technically tell us the sex, but they're not really allowed to tell you the sex in New Jersey because of those lawsuits, but we were very excited to know. So anyway, I remember I'm in the hallway praying to God and I'm saying like, look, please give me a son first. I want a daughter, but I want a son first because I was a scumbag when I was younger, guys. Any chance Laura and I got into a fight, I was a dirtbag. I ran off and I was a scumbag. And it was like, keep your sisters away from Rich. Keep your mother away from Rich if she's good looking. Like, I was a scumbag. And ultimately, my wife taught my daughter very well. And as the man, you're just supposed to be a role model to show your daughter how a man is supposed to treat a woman by how you treat your wife. There really is nothing else you can do. If you have a household where you're treating your wife like a piece of shit, your daughter is not going to understand how a man is supposed to treat her and value her. And by the way, dads, it's up to you to not spoil them, but give them what they need so they're not looking for another man to give them what they need. I've literally heard my daughter have a guy tell her, I'll get you this, baby. And she's like, I don't need you for that shit. My daddy will buy me whatever I want. That's your job. Not to make them spoiled, but to tell them, show them, not tell them anything, show them how a man is supposed to behave. So they expect to be treated like that from the man that eventually wants to marry them or even be with them. And ultimately, Laura did a good job of that. But here I am, a young man, and I don't know how this goes. I don't know what to be a father. So I'm just begging God, please give me a son who will be a guardian angel over a girl. I want a girl. I want a daughter. I know eventually I'm going to get one, but please let this be a boy first. Please, please, please. So he can literally do this. Watch out for his sister. I mean, I was literally praying for a son first for the exact reason that what happened this morning. And it was like an instant flashback, almost 20 years. It's remarkable how the brain works. You know, you watch out for them as they grow older and they get into high school, but also eventually I will be gone. And there'll be a time where all they have in the world, the only people they have in the world to count on, truly count on, is their blood, them. And hopefully, of course, they get their own families, but never forget that they are there for each other and he can always have her back. Anyway, how to find out in New Jersey. Like I said, they can't tell you, but we're pushing this woman. She knew we were excited. We were a young first-time parent. And actually, at one point, but prior to this, and I don't want to bring too much of this up, but we did lose a child before our oldest son. So it was a thing. And, obviously they knew. So this woman took like pity on us and she just draws on the screen with the mouse. She can circle something or make an arrow or something. And she draws this arrow on the screen. I don't know what it is. And she's like towards his, and she writes boy with an exclamation mark. So technically she didn't tell us because that would be violation of the policy. But if we happened to be paying attention and looking at the screen at the time when she wrote it, we would have saw it was a boy, which in fact, of course, we were. And anyway, I literally go back on that hallway and do a cartwheel. I kid you not, to celebrate. God answered my prayer. And in return, which is a longer story, in return, I was like, okay, that means I actually have to be a good father for this child. And that'll be the deal. So yeah, I shared this story on Locals because it puts life into perspective. Time went by so quickly, including the last, 10 years plus or so. Not my entire career as a public pollster, but most of it. And the Trump era seemed like one cycle, like one election cycle that just kept rolling into another, but it was never like a break in elections that I remember for most of my life and my career. Trump has been a story in and of itself, and it never ended. The Trump story never ended. So as a pollster, didn't matter. Like the elections might have been the Super Bowl, but it was like the season never ended. And that costs you a lot of time. So this will be a year of firsts and a year of lasts. It's my son's last year as a high school student. It will be our last year together, all of us as a family, all the time. Of course, he'll come back for the holidays. And of course, it's my daughter's first year of high school. And with that will come a lot of firsts too. And with my son's year will be a lot of lasts, which will be a lot of, it'll be hard. So I intend to make the very most of it. This election's going to end and things are going to change. All right. I'm just telling everybody that now at this point. Now, I'm not disappearing, but things are going to change. And also, you'll find out more within probably 2 months. I mean, it'll eventually not be able to be kept a secret anymore, but eventually, I would say probably late October, if that. Late October, you guys will know what it is that I've been up to. And that is going to be what I direct a lot of my energy to. All right. So with that in mind, I just wanted to give that as a little bit of an opening salvo because we don't do it enough. We really don't. As you can see, my hair is everyone's making fun of it over there. My hair is super curly. It's muggy and it was been pouring and raining. So I've had to comb it 8 times today. It doesn't look that bad on camera. What are you talking about? But yeah, my biscuit curls were everywhere today, ever, because I got like literally baloney curls. Back in my high school day, I had long hair until Laura made me shave it all off. But I had like biscuit, not shave it. I had got a fade, but I literally came in one day after having hair like down here. I literally came in and was like short hair, but I had biscuit curls, man, like baloney curls. I don't know if guys are probably most of you guys out there probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but they literally baloneyed, and you could like stick your finger through them and play with them, and they were like springs. They looked like slinkies. It was cool as hell. So even now with short hair, if it's a day like this, my biscuits come back. I like them. I think they're cool. They're just hard to manage. All right, let's bring up South Carolina. Okay. Darlene Graham, you can see here, is 67.5% favorite. Let's go to all the markets, actually, okay? This is Cauchy. She's at about 60, what now? 67.4. And over in Poly Market, she's actually on her way down a little bit, 69. I think she is overstated. Do I think she is the favorite as of this moment? We will see. That, guys, that gaffe, she completely disqualified herself. And this will be a test of Trump's endorsement because he's had some problems in South Carolina. Lindsey Graham himself did not do well enough. I think this race is not, it is not 65-35. All right, I'll tell you right now. For those of you who don't know what some of this means, I'll explain it to you. They have targeted when Trump went there, and he's going to do a tele-rally tonight. This is not, their behavior is not the behavior of a confident campaign. All right. Trump's going to do tele-rally. He showed up in Horry County. Let's be real. They were all old. All right. There was a lot of people there saying, look, people are saying MAGA's dead. MAGA's not dead. Look at how awesome this rally is. There's so many people here. All right, dude. You may have like 700,000 Twitter followers, but I've been going to Trump rallies since like 2015, before they were even Trump rallies. I've been going to watch Trump speak since he gave a speech at CPAC and said, we can't have another Bush or another Clinton in the White House. And I knew he was serious and he was going to run. I have been to so many Trump rallies, I really don't remember. I have lost count. I've been to Trump rallies in, I think, 8 states. Let me count it up. Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Not Minnesota. I did not get to the Scandinavian rally when the plane landed. Iowa. Ohio. That's 6. Did I say Florida? No, South Carolina. That's 7. Arizona. That's 8. I think it may even be more than 8 states. There's so many, like, guys, New Hampshire, 9. Holy shit. Okay. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I've watched over the years as Trump's rallies grew in diversity. In 2016, it was amazing because you could see very clearly the working class Democrats who voted for Barack Obama. They were there. And they're more like middle-aged, not, some were young. There's some that were younger men, but not that many. The real magic for Trump in 2016 was that he had a bunch of people who voted for Barack Obama voting for him, and they were outwardly showing it and coming to their rallies. In 2020, you could see it get more diverse, more Black, more Hispanic, and somewhat better with younger voters. Somewhat. It depends what state. Like in Iowa and Ohio, he was always rather strong with younger voters. But by 2024, it was incredibly diverse. Young, non-white, a lot. That rally the other day was nothing but old white people. Old white people. And I'm not making fun of you if you're old and you're white, but it was a Fox BoomerCon crowd. And the guy's like, there were thousands and thousands of people there. No, there weren't. Okay. It was like, first of all, there's official figures. I'm not saying in attendance because there were people waiting outside. But for somebody who's been doing this for a very long time, you can stare at a Trump rally and see who is missing now. All the young men. Actually, the one young man who showed up who was prevalent got shouted down because he had an Epstein shirt on. I'm not kidding. By old white people. That's who yelled at him. I don't see, the group of, there were even a group of blacks for Trump. There was this one guy, of course, that went everywhere, but there were groups at one point that those are basically gone. South Carolina is not particularly Hispanic, so I wouldn't expect that. And Horry County is where Myrtle Beach is, so you would expect it to be older and whiter, but you can't really just make that excuse, because I'm telling you, there were these diverse groups that would travel all over the place, even if they were not from that area, to go see Donald Trump, and they would go to like almost every rally, as many as they could, if they could follow him that quickly. And that's just not there anymore. It's smart that he targeted Horry County for Darlene, because it gave a lot of votes to people other than Norman and Darlene, Ralph and Darlene. So there were a lot of votes to win there. Therein lies Ralph's problem. And if we just look at the map, I'll show you. What am I at right here? Okay, let's go back to results. All right, this is Horry County. There will be a lot of votes, a lot. Do I have the link handy? Give me 1 second. Okay, unfortunately, I don't, but I can show you an image of it. Let me get the image so you can see the runoff. Okay, let me give you the runoff results. I was trying to show you the actual map, but okay. Where is it? Why isn't it showing? Oh, because it's a web format. Okay. I got a better idea. I have a simpler idea. I'll put it into a tab and I will share it with you instead. Or I can just convert it right now. Where's the map? Let me just convert it to a PNG. Because I want to show you what Ralph's challenge is, even though the news in the campaign is better for Ralph than people may think. And what do I mean by that? Ralph Norman's internal poll has him ahead 52-40. The blunder hurt her. Okay. No matter what people say or excuses that were made, it did. The question is, did Trump and the money bounce her back in time? And by up, I mean, if I remember correctly, it was 52-40. There are also a lot of pollsters who polled this race and didn't release polls. And that to me is very funny. And I know who you are. That to me is very funny, because you better have a good excuse for doing that. Otherwise, it sounds like, listen, I was told one was doing this in other races already. And it was basically like PAC money diverted to somebody. That somebody pays for the poll. That poll is done under the pretense of it being a public poll. And they put out a result that looks good for Trump's endorsed candidate. And I know that pollster, or I've seen do this before. At least there has been an accusation, and I haven't made it public because I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm gotta maybe stop doing that, because guys tend to do that, and it may be stupid, guys. Like, women know, and women have great intuition. And we as men like to give, especially other men, the benefit of the doubt. It's like, I respect them and I trust them until he gives me a reason not to. Because you want that treatment as a man. We're different. The sexes are different. Maybe I need to stop doing that and try to learn something from our female friends, because their intuition is better. And one of them that I trust completely is always right about intuition. And they told me at that moment not to stick up for them. I did. And I think I may have just realized from what I found out that I should not have done that, because there's no reason for a public pollster not to release a poll unless the data is tainted or something's wrong. Sometimes you just get bad data. But I have been asking people to send me images if they get polling invites, or if they're conducting an online poll or whatever that they were asked to participate in, or if they're called live caller. I want to know who it is. Please ask them who the organization is and who the sponsor is. And in one in particular, the sponsor of the poll was not being presented. And that's a problem. And now I've been waiting. Tomorrow's the runoff. I've been waiting because there's been scant polling here other than Ralph Norman's own internal poll. and that is a problem. People don't want to poll against Donald Trump. They don't want they don't want to draw the ire of the White House. There are people who are being funneled money from certain PACs to poll under the pretenses of public polling. It's happening. I'll let the media handle it because I know that they already, one in particular already knows and has the story. I don't know what they're doing. I won't scoop them. I told them I wouldn't scoop them. I didn't even want to participate in it. But the fact is that's happening. And the other people don't want to go against those pollsters because if the campaign somehow pulls it off, they're going to look stupid. And even if they don't pull it off and their poll ends up being right, they'll become a target. Listen, maybe I didn't make myself clear over the decade plus I've been doing this since I created the polling police critic industry. I don't care if you're a left-wing person or if you're a right-wing person. If you are misusing public polls and you are doing it in a way that disgraces George Gallup's vision, which I have so wholly subscribed to, then I'm going to come after you. I don't care who you vote for. I did not spend 10 years fighting the left-wing scumbags only to leave the door open for you guys on the right to do the same shit. Literally over my dead body. Literally. And I'm not suicidal. Literally over my dead body am I going to sit here and watch that happen. So, if Darlene was polling well, you better believe that Tony Fabrizio would have dumped a poll like they did in South Carolina for her brother. The fact that we have not seen a Fabrizio polls from a PAC, saying, look, Darlene's up 20 points is very telling. Also, they have pulled all positive messaging off the air. Everything that Darlene and her allied groups are running are all negative ads against Ralph Norman. Ralph Norman is running both positive and negative ads. All right. That is also very telling. Why? Because if you are down, all right, and it's a very, very limited electorate. She basically a DEI Darlene. Yeah, 100%. 100%. This is what she is. Look, guys, in my opinion, she disqualified herself when she said, and I quote, let me go get it. To be honest, I am not that informed on Social Security. In response to a question about the importance of Taiwan to U.S. interest, it was, is Taiwan and the South China Sea vital security interest to the United States? And she said, can you repeat the question? Is Taiwan and the South China Sea vital security interest to the United States? To be honest, I'm not that informed on national security. That tells you you're already the brother of one of the most outspoken national security senators in our lifetime. You didn't learn anything, nothing rubbed off at all. If you can't answer that question, you're not interested in politics. Carl Cannon on Real Clear Politics is right. It is an utterly disqualifying answer. We have serious challenges in this country. We need serious people. This is an effing DEI pick. Matt Gaetz is right about that. You are right, Matt. There's no other way to put it. But again, the markets themselves don't seem to be reflecting the reality of the race. And maybe they think Trump's power is still that much, but I don't think so. The problem I think I see for Ralph is here. And let me move this down. Let me remove this and let me put this up here. Okay. Let me move me down here. Okay. This is the result of the 2026 special election initial round of voting. And actually, let me make it just full page. Darlene Graham got 32.7% of the vote. She's in purple. You can see where her vote came from. If you can tell, Russell Fry actually did very well in the area we call the PD, which is where Horry County is, and Myrtle Beach, the top right county, where you can see Myrtle Beach right there. There are a lot of votes there. Ralph Norman won the Upcountry and the Piedmont outside of Oconee County, which is Lindsey Graham's home county. Darlene has been an occupational voc rehab person for like her entire career. She knows really nothing about politics, and she doesn't really have roots in the state the way that Lindsey Graham did. What she has is goodwill. And by the way, if Ralph Norman loses, Ralph, you lost because you didn't pounce on her and go for the kill shot during the debate. You should have. You're not Rick Lazio, and she's not Hillary Clinton. You should have buried her right then and there. And I'm sorry if that's a poor choice of words, but I'm not changing what I say because of somebody else's personal situation. I frankly don't give a shit. To be perfectly honest with you, the humanity in me is sorry for her having to mourn her brother. The father in me, who's cared about the future for his children and his country, is wondering what the hell Darlene Graham is even doing in this race. She isn't qualified, and she's clearly not interested at all. This isn't funny. We just passed $40 trillion in national debt. We have a cost of living and an affordability crisis. We have a generational crisis and a generational shift coming that could rout us from the map. We have wars raging all over the planet, and two of them that could potentially escalate into great power conflicts of epic proportions. As a result of the Iran war, which her dumbass brother supported and pushed Donald Trump to do, we are now going to at least be in a tripolar system, which is a dangerous system in the international state of anarchy. In other words, no more unipolar United States. We are not the only hegemon in town. A bipolar system is what we had during the Cold War when it was the United States and Russia. That's it. Two superpowers, no other real true great powers, no superpowers for sure, no regional hegemons. And we balanced each other out. And with the exception of proxy wars, through the domino theory stupidity, like Vietnam and Afghanistan, it really was a relatively stable period compared to multipolarity periods, which are what we had, periods that we had that led to the First and Second World Wars. When you have more great powers than two, war breaks out a lot. That is the empirical record. And we should have somebody who is schooled in national security, especially since they're representing a state that is home to the military-industrial complex. I mean, this shit isn't funny, guys, at all. I don't know what the hell Donald Trump's doing. Like, this is where he just gets, and it's not just me and my own opinion. I'm talking about this is where Trump just gets taken unseriously. He just does himself so dirty like this. The worst thing that could happen to Donald Trump is that Darlene Graham becomes a senator. That's the truth. Because she'll be an epic disaster. She'll probably be defeated 6 years from now by a Democrat, but she'll be an epic disaster, and it will be his shame and his embarrassment. The problem I see here is very clear. Mark Sanford did endorse, and you can see where Mark Sanford did pretty well, but Darlene Graham won the Low Country and Central South Carolina, the central region, which includes Columbia, and I was thinking of Leesburg, right? Augusta. This is problematic because she's still winning a Coney. All she needs to do is carry Horry County and some of those other areas by a decent margin. Ralph cannot let her have both the Low Country and the PD. I hate to say this and sound like a broken record. This is why it needed to be Paul Dance. I like Mark Lynch. He's a fine man. You can't win in South Carolina anymore by running it up in the upcountry. You can't do it. The state will shift like North Carolina has shifted and like Georgia has shifted, and even Mississippi is going to come up on you guys and you're not going to realize it. You cannot forsake all of these state-to-state migrants coming from the Northeast and coming from California who are making their homes in Horry County and in Charleston. You cannot forsake them and not win these votes. They're different kind of Republicans. The economic nationalist message resonates with them. But Darlene's winning like those moderates and then like puts them together with a little bit in Central where there's a lot of votes. And it's definitely difficult to beat her. Now, we'll see what happens with some of those moderates when it comes to that comment, because you are going to have some people in Charleston. These are serious voters. They're affluent voters, and they're going to look at her comments if they've heard about it and they don't know much about her. She only got still about 30%. She didn't win them overwhelmingly a lot of these areas. 2 counties she did, but she's not like this is not going to hurt her, that comment. We'll see. So it is going to be a test of Trump's endorsement. But if I was Donald Trump, because he was all in already, the problem is he couldn't just pull his endorsement because she sounded like an idiot. He looked like a fool for even backing her. He knew her well. He knew she knew nothing. And yet he still installed her. So this will be to his great shame when we have to watch her like an idiot in the U.S. Senate. We already have a Hirono. We don't need another moron walking around. I'm sorry. It's the way it is. Early voting ended, by the way, and it didn't look great for her. The areas where she needs to run it up did not look good. And this is interesting. Why? Because the Piedmont and the upcountry remind me of Florida, where the highest voting turnout in Florida was coming from those more conservative areas. In Big Bend and in North Florida and even parts of Central Florida, that helped Collins against Byron Donalds. Byron held on and he won with less than 50% of the vote. It was 46, 48%, 48. Because there's large urban population centers and suburban Republican strongholds still in Florida. And he ran it up with non-white areas like in Miami-Dade and Broward and Palm Beach. He ran it up there while getting his butt kicked among the traditional Republican base, more conservative Republican base. Clearly, Ralph Norman is going to win them. And the question is, how much can he push around her wins in the southern part of the central region? And can he wrap it around in a PD at all? Because if he can't, he's going to lose. It's just a matter of votes. He can technically do it. Why? Because Byron Donalds may have ran up those margins in those counties in Florida, but they did not vote in high rates. The large urban centers where Republicans and Trump made the most inroads with non-white voters, that's where the turnout drop-off came from. Also, it came from areas like Pinellas County and burbs and other burbs in the Tampa Bay area, which are still Republican strongholds. A lot of those state-to-state migrants did not vote. I mean, those precincts where we know there's a huge amount of people who came from New York, huge amount of people who came from New Jersey, especially during the COVID era, but not more than that, over the last 10 years. They didn't vote. And that could be Darlene's problem because this is a runoff, guys. You're going to have the Fox Boomercom come out and they're going to vote for Darlene because Trump told them to. But I am concerned for Darlene because of the governor's race. I'm not concerned. I'm just saying I would be concerned if I was Darlene by the governor runoff, where Trump's endorsement was humiliated. And she fought to get to 40% of the vote, guys. I mean, it was not close. She got stomped. So I feel like there's like a solid 35, 38% in South Carolina who's just like, whatever Trump says. There's still that in a Republican primary electorate, but not in the electorate overall. And he is somewhat losing his grip on it. We'll see. And I know we put up the endorsement graphic the other day, but come on. That's for the Fox Boomercons to listen to. That's not for the guys who do this for a living like me. Sorry. Again, South Carolina was one of 5 so far gubernatorial Trump-endorsed candidates that did not win their primaries this year. So that's how she would have to put it together. Now, if we look at that, can we remove this and put this back up? If we look at this real quick, all right. You'll see what I mean. So this is a Coney. She'll probably win that. That's Lindsay's home county. If she's not winning a Coney, she's cooked. Okay, because like she's cooked. And Lindsay almost didn't win it against Mark Lynch in the first round of voting. But he's going to cut her off basically from here around. He's going to win Spartanburg. He's going to win Greenville. He's going to win Pickens. He's going to win Anderson. He's going to win Cherokee. Can he get to Chesterfield? Anything around Horry? I mean, by the way, if it comes in and Ralph Norman is ahead in Horry County, this race is over. The question is not to me whether she'll win it or not. We'll see. I mean, it would be stunned if she did. The question is by how much will she win Charleston and Horry County? And of course, there are other areas, Beaufort, very important. But I do expect her to win those. Now, if he's doing better in the low country, then shit, man, she's cooked. I mean, that's it. But I just don't. I'm telling you, I don't know if they put enough work in there to do that. Or it is possible that her debate, nobody knew anything about Darlene Graham. And that debate performance, what she said there, could be the only thing that these voters know about her. But we'll see. Trump tried to clean it up. He did. But we've seen Trump not be able to clean up messes before. Mike Lindell, who I polled for in June. I wish he would have polled again so I could have seen whether there was real damage. I was the only one, along with the president, who said the amnesty mess up is bad. And I think people are now starting to realize Trump can only do so much. If you make a blunder like that, you're in trouble. And what Darlene said was incredibly stupid. I mean, it's, again, what Mike said was stupid, and he didn't clean it up until 48 hours later. That's too damn long. And they were just beating him over. It's funny because they were rhinos beating him over the head about amnesty, as if they ever intend to do a fucking thing about illegal immigration. But they did it nonetheless, and it worked. With this, but what Mike said wasn't disqualifying. What Darlene Graham said is a disqualifying statement. She is not qualified to be a U.S. senator. And I don't mean to say that because I'm like injecting bias into my now. I'm telling you. Now, does that matter anymore the way it used to years ago? I don't know, and we're going to find out tomorrow. The betting markets don't seem to think so. Ralph Norman's pollster does. He said she collapsed. We'll see, though, because Trump swooped in, and we'll see if it's enough. By the way, tomorrow is book club and Stinchfield and the election. So I'm thinking we're probably going to do the first Tuesday book club, maybe quick, and maybe we'll have to add something to Sunday, guys. I don't know, because I forgot that I would tell Stinchfield I'd come back for the market discussion. It doesn't matter because only like, not even. Stinchfield's like 5-minute hit. I can just pop in and pop out. But what I think I'm going to do is keep book club up. At some point, we'll just get into a discussion period, and then we'll talk as the results are rolling in. Because if you look, you'll see, let me put it back up here. Look down over here, and you will see that the polls close at 7. So about an hour or so in the book club, 2 things are going to happen. 1, the polls are going to close, and we're going to start to get results. And 2, I got to go on Stinchfield, I think at like 7:05. And then I'll be back like 7:10. So I'll probably just leave it open, and we'll just roll with it. All right? Sound like a plan? I mean, I don't know why we can't multitask. There's 2 cameras. I think I can do it. I think I am going to do it. Okay? So there's that. Let's see. So, I mean, outside of that, let me just see. I have little notes here. Yeah, I mean, the problem, listen, the benefit that Graham has is that she has a statewide recognized ID. The downside for Ralph Norman is that congressional candidates don't necessarily do well for statewide races. In this shorter period of time, Ralph ran in the governor's race. He lost. Okay. He's an example of it. In 2026 alone, 14 of the 25 members of the U.S. House have lost primaries or their runoffs if they left to run for statewide office. So we have 25 members of the U.S. House who decided to run for a statewide office in the year 2026 in a primary. Of those, 14 of them have been defeated. All right. But we'll see. They also weren't running against somebody who said they don't know anything about the job, which is just unbelievable to me. It's just, I'll be honest with you. I just can't. It's just crazy. Before the debate, Graham had a 9 in 10 chance of winning in the election markets. In the Kalshi and Poly market, both had her about at 90%. But after the debate, she fell considerably, and now you'll see she's about 65 to 70%, depending on which one you're looking at. But this comes down to whether or not Donald Trump still has the gravitas to pull her over the finish line. So there it is. Yeah, the rally was in Myrtle Beach. And literally the third place finisher from the first round of voting, Russell Fry, won Horry County. Now Fry is endorsed Graham. On the flip side of that, though, you have Mark Sanford, who has endorsed Norman. All right. Why does that matter? Because Sanford's support was concentrated mostly in the Low Country, in the Charleston area, which includes most of his old 1st congressional district. It's not the same anymore, but that's where his support came from in that first round. And why did he bring it up? He wrote this long ass thing on X, and it was like, dude, you don't need 10 paragraphs to justify why you're voting against a sister who lost her brother. Well, you're endorsing against a sister who just lost her brother because she made an absolutely disqualifying statement in the debate. Norman has one of the most conservative records in Congress. All right. There's no doubt that if you're hoping a real conservative wins, and by the way, Sanford brought that up in his endorsement. He said what I just said before. Listen, we have serious problems, including $40 trillion in debt. We cannot afford a big spending Republican like Darlene, who doesn't know anything, to come along and just toe the party line. We need more conservative voices in the Senate. We're in trouble. And Sanford is a bit of a rebel, okay? So, especially on fiscal issues, he was a major pain in the ass. He was a longtime member of the Freedom Caucus, and again, Norman as well, and he has one of the most conservative voting records in Congress. Look at VoteView. They measure most of roll call patterns and stuff. You'll see that Norman is, I mean, it's not even close. He's up there. It's really quite remarkable. Actually, I'll bring it up. I'll show you. Norman. I should just be able to search for Norman right now. Ralph Norman. Here it is. Oh my goodness gracious. Look where he is on the spectrum. Let me just show you here and I'll go back. Look at this. Watch this come up. This is where Ralph Norman falls on the ideological spectrum. I mean, it doesn't get much more. I mean, there's like a hand. I don't even know. There's like 3 members over here and one of them's being voted out. Can you guess who is to the right of Ralph Norman? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. So there's that. You can actually see War Powers. He actually voted to remove the United States Armed Forces from the hostilities in Iran, which is a majority position. Big majority position. No, he was a party vote. No. Member vote. Nay. Probability vote. 98. Oh, no, he voted against this. I'm sorry, they worded that wrong. Well, that sucks. I mean, honestly, Ralph, I would have voted against it. I would have voted for it. I mean, address, attendance, and loyalty. His votes are cast 568, which means he was in attendance basically 9 out of 10 times. And medium House Republican is at 630, House median 625. And you can see where Norman is. So, I mean, he votes to the right of his, he votes to the right of his, of his party. So that's, well, obviously most of the Republican Party would probably fall around here, which is ass. You will not find, look at, you can see just from this distribution, guys, that Democrats are lockstep to the left most of the time, and freaking Republicans, moderate, squishy moderates. I hate that term. Spineless, non-belief having, non-principle having scumbags. Sorry. That's what that means. That's what that chart shows you. That chart shows you that Republicans vote, I don't want to say more with Democrats, but there's no doubt that they peel off their own base vote preference more than Democrats do. Democrats are more concentrated onto the liberal spectrum. And by the way, in all of these things, VoteView, there's a couple others out there. your idea of liberal and their idea of liberal is very different. You can actually even tell that they have most liberal votes voting like concentrated, yes, but more to the right of liberal, whereas Ralph Norman is right here all the way to the conservative. I mean, this is bullshit, and we all know it. This should be all the way over here. This should be here, and conservatives should be scooted over. The problem is Republicans are skewing. Republican betrayal votes are skewing these. They're not models. They're skewing these distributions. So, in other words, if Republicans voted more in line with what they actually claim, it would scoot it all over a little bit, but they don't. So they're actually pulling Democrats to the right. Not because they're actually pulling Democrats to the right, but because they're so spread out. It's disgusting. Look at that. Just look at it. It makes me sick to even look at. So let me go back. Yeah, I mean, you're just not going to see Democrats do shit like that, guys. You're not. Do we have the primary vote before we do? Let me go here. Okay, so that one's that. Let's go here. Oh, there it is. It was right there. The link was right there. All right, so here you can see Sanford's got a solid amount here in Charleston. Sanford got 30% in Charleston. Let me just see let me go down to Charleston and see what, does it open? It's not opening. Okay. So Graham only won Charleston by 3. This will be interesting. Charleston itself will be interesting. I'm curious. I would like to know, because Fry got 3rd. I don't know why it's not letting me look by county. I don't know why they're doing this. In the general elections, they do. This is a little bit weird to me. I don't know why that's happening, but I would like to know where Mark Sanford. I'll have to go to the New York Times to figure that out. Hold on. 2026, South Carolina special. Because I don't want to go in the vault right now. All right. Let's see live results from that 3 weeks ago. I'd rather look at the New York Times, but whatever. I could look at PBS. I guess it doesn't matter. As long as they have the prior one. Do they have the other one? Advance to the runoff, live results of the primary. There it is. Okay. Nice. Charleston was Ralph Norman got 15% and Mark Sanford got 30%. So Russell Fry endorsed Darlene. How much does she win Charleston by? Can he put together like 45 to 48% of the vote? Because if he can, he's going to win. Now, in Horry, it's a problem because in Horry, Russell Fry endorsed her. Like I said, he already had 42. They're going to slap in Horry County. I mean, slap. And there's a lot of votes there. So, I mean, he's just got to do better. It'll be low country and up country, probably, versus central and the PD. And how well she does, this is the problem with traditional conservatives in a state like the South is becoming, and I know you guys can't see what I'm talking about, but in the South is becoming a different South. You know, it's like Virginia used to be called the Old Dominion. It's not the Old Dominion name. We might as well change the name to New Dominion. It is not the same. No Southern state, especially in the South Atlantic, is what we think of anymore when we think of Southern states. So these traditional conservatives have a difficult time when they're running against somebody who can run it up in some of the urban areas. All right. And let me just see. She did decent and respectable in some of these areas, except for Oconee. I mean, honestly, there's Norman and Fry and Oconee right there. Just give me a second. I'm curious. Sanford won 13%. Ralph Norman won, so that's already 40% with them combined. She'll win it probably, but Oconee may be tight. It actually may be tight. Graham didn't do so great in his damn self, you know. He did later on in the runoff, but he didn't. I mean, it wasn't a very impressive performance. We'll see. We'll see. In the governor's race that was run, there was obviously the runoff with Alan Wilson and then Trump's girl. He did remarkably well. He wound up putting together a coalition that really was stronger than his initial vote suggested. I mean, they're both sitting at like 30. It was like 33, 30, and then he just smoked her. That's something. We'll see. I mean, Ralph clearly has a little bit more way to go, but that comment may cause some irregular voting patterns, like from what we would otherwise expect. So this is our starting baseline, but can it really be considered that, given sometimes someone can make a comment in an election, guys, that just overturns, turns everything on its head. And some of these, PD counties that she was really counting on may in fact not be, you may not be able to count on them at all. All right. Wow. It's 9 o'clock already. Jeez Louise. All right. I put my phone on do not disturb because I was trading and I didn't want to deal with that. Let me take it off though, just in case one of my kids need me. Hang on. Like I said, this is basically going to be like a did good today. Did good today. I had to crawl my way out of an uglier trade this morning. Let me just tell you, I had to crawl my way. I've been doing really good. My trades. I don't know if you guys got into Kalshi perpetuals at all. I may try to get a hold of Kalshi and maybe I don't know. Maybe Jack and I had this conversation, about who do you allow to be a sponsor and who is anything immoral about it, like being, and to me, it's like, no, it's part of my my shtick. This is what we deal with now. Betting markets is going to be a part of elections. There's nothing we can do. The world's not going back to the way it was. I may reach out to them and see, because I don't want to sit over here talking up their product, but Kalshi perpetuals is really cool. And if you're more of a trader like I was, as far as equities and other things, other assets, then perpetuals makes more sense than what you're, traditionally, gambling on in Kalshi. I don't look at trading the same way as I look at typical betting odds, betting markets, because that to me is more gambling, whereas trading is more of an art and a strategy. Anyway, I just got distracted and I wasn't paying attention this morning and I forgot to set my stop loss. It wasn't horrible, but I took a bath and I was like, oh man. So in between, because it was a really, really busy day for me, in between, I had to look for strategies and the right timing to deploy them in order to make it back, which I did. And but boy, it was not at all given. And then that one that I was waiting on, I forgot about it again, but it was already, I got it was 26 to 98 run. So I took, there was very little time left in it, but it was on BTC, the BTC market. I see you asking. Yeah, it was on a BTC market. So it was, what's it going to be? What's it going to be at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, right? Some mad people in the chat. I mean, I know you guys are, and I feel your pain. I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, don't. You guys see that rant from that guy? You want me to play it? I think I should play it. There's this guy who went on this rant. It went viral. It's remarkable because I have no idea who this guy is. No idea who he is. Hold on. I don't want it to run. X is giving me problems today. I don't know what the deal is. Whoa, geez. I don't know what the deal is. Dude, that was loud, bro. Do I have the downloader up? If not, I'll just have to run it on the screen, but I'd rather get the downloader for it. And then I'll put it up for you guys to look at, because this guy, I have no idea who he is. He just starts to go viral over, what he said. And so a lot of I had people, 10 people send me this link and they're like, hey, did you see this guy's TikTok? And I'm like, no, I did not, but I will look at it. And I did. And I'm listening to him. And it just sounds to me like a very typical voter who we speak to all the time now. All right. I'll play it and I'll run it. And the reason why I'm going to is because I'm looking at what some of you said, especially on, well, I don't want to single you out, but if you're in the chat with them, you know who I'm talking about. I get it, man. I get it. I understand you're mad. I don't know what to tell you about it, but I do get it. All right, let me put it up and listen carefully.
America, Donald Trump says we need to win the midterm elections, otherwise Democrats will impeach him. Now, obviously, I've been saying this for month after month after month, but it's a little too late for the Trump administration to start thinking about victory in the midterm elections when basically there's no way in holy fuck the Republicans are going to win the midterm elections. Everyone in America with a brain is well aware of what's on the horizon, which is a 5 to 8 point Democrat victory in November over the Republicans as an average. To this point, there can be no debate. And so unless you get the cost of food, gasoline, cars, houses, and rent down by 50% in the next 3 months, you're basically fucked. I don't know what to tell you. I don't necessarily want the Democrats to win. I don't want to see a 2.5-year lame duck president. But I've been warning about this for month after month. Now Donald Trump says we have to do something, otherwise we're going to lose the midterm elections and I'm going to be impeached. No fucking shit, really? So are we done feeding the billionaires endless money a year and a half in? Have they had their fill of profit yet? Can the American people have any fucking gain finally? You know, the shit we all voted for? You see, that's why the Democrats are in the lead. It's not because anybody likes Democrats. Democrats are failures. Nobody likes most of their policies. A couple here and there. But it's all just anti-Trump shit at this point. But people are going to vote against Republicans because you didn't make their lives better.
Yeah,
we saw
that's what
you
it comes down to.
Endless everything to the billionaires. And I mean everything. Everything a billion-dollar corporation wanted, you gave to them. We had a full year and a half to help the American people. You got in 2 months of doing that, and then you started blowing cash at the billionaires. I mean, you literally sold your soul to billion-dollar companies. Now we have high prices, wages are barely going up, and you can't sue pesticide companies when you get cancer from their products. Oh, wow, what a victory! We have a schism in the Republican Party, and the socialists are starting to take over. Yeah, that made America great. Where's my fucking stimulus check? Oh, how about the tariff thing where the American people across the board paid higher prices for everything they purchased for a full year and a half? Only for the Supreme Court to tell us to fuck ourselves, and then those same corporations that took extra money from you, they get paid for the opportunity to fuck you financially. From elections.
Hold on, guys. Whoa, stop him. I mean, I could listen to the guy go on and on forever. All right. So I get that because he sounds like the average middle of the road to right-leaning independent Trump voter and a whole bunch of base people. And like, not, you know, the majority of the base is still going to say, no, we love Trump, we're with Trump. But like, 33% to third to 35 are really angry. Strong approval rating is way below 50%. Now, that's a big problem. Trump's strong approval rating in our poll, where among Republicans, I'm talking about, in our poll among Republicans, when we had him at the highest we've ever had him, he was at like 70%. When you fall below 50 in strong approval, it's a red flag. I'm talking about with your own partisans. I just want to bring up something because he said something. Yeah, no shit. We're going to get hosed. Yeah, no shit. Because you didn't make anybody's lives better, because you chose to start a war and you didn't keep your eye on the prize. I just want to flash back because what he said, I've been saying it for months, he says. I made this video just for posterity so that I could keep coming back to it in times like this and showing you guys. Do you remember when I said this? It's from November of last year. Look at what Bannon is trying to say in response to that poll that we conducted, and ask yourself whether or not they listened. And then ask yourself what's the priority then? Or dare I say loyalties? Where do your loyalties lie? Because at that time, the question was, do you choose your coalition, your own citizens? Donald Trump just the other day, just Tuesday, made a big spectacle on the State of the Union. Mr. President, you said stand up if the job of the government is to put their citizens first. Is it just over illegal immigrants, or Is it for, or does that not apply to foreign nations? Because the question back then was, this is the data, except which at that time they had already accepted. Who's more important? If you think the Democrats, for example, if you're on the right and you think the Democrats are an existential threat to the survival and their governance, to the survival of the country, then you have to prioritize your coalition and the ability to win elections. If you're putting that in jeopardy, if you are willing to sacrifice that coalition for a foreign nation, you are a foreign agent. End of story. The logic doesn't work any other way. You are willing to sacrifice America first as a coalition, its ability to win, its brand in the mind of the future of our country for a foreign nation. You're a fucking foreign agent. End of story. Your loyalties don't lie with the country. Either that or you're full of shit and you don't actually believe that Democrats are an existential threat to the country. So which is it? Because you cannot have it both ways.
I need everybody to read this poll. It's a jaw dropper. It's actually very shocking. And I would strongly recommend to the Israel First crowd, and I strongly recommend to the RJC, you should read this poll, you should think about it, and you should contact Richard Barris and talk to Barris about it. Don't immediately say, oh, Barris is anti-Semite. Barris is not. He's just giving you to with the bark on.
They call me an anti-Semite.
Where did people go to get you?
They did. As always, Steve, the best places on locals, peoplespundit.locals.com. They called me an
anti-Semite.
What choice did they make? What choice did they make? Did they listen to that? Did we remember that conference? He's talking about the Republican Jewish coalition. Do we remember that conference? Where all of us were attacked? Where that poll was attacked? Where young MAGA was attacked? Where Tucker was attacked? Where everybody was attacked? They just went vicious after it. The poll itself was anti-Semitic. They made their decision. And now they're here because they didn't listen. I suggest you all listen, pay attention. Don't, they didn't. They did exactly the opposite of what Steve said. They called me a Jew hater. They called everyone who shared the poll a Jew hater. And they attacked everybody who the poll shows people agree with. It was the dumbest PR strategy I have ever seen a party, a country, a freaking celebrity, anybody adopt. They concluded that they were basically out of time and to just keep going full steam ahead. Because what were they doing when they did this? It's an intimidation tactic. That's enough. That poll, if we remember, that poll was about support for the war. Whether people wanted the White House to focus on Iran having a nuclear weapon or whether they wanted them to focus on meeting their needs. How bad would it hurt them if they didn't listen? Israel's popularity was falling apart. A solid majority, said Israel had too much influence over Donald Trump and that they wanted him to focus on domestic issues. 70% said no. 21% said, yeah, I support the war. It was the worst possible result for any, it was empirically the worst result any president has ever had before starting a major conflict. Not for nothing, but this wasn't really hard to predict. It wasn't. I don't understand why so many people are stunned, at the situation. And it didn't have to be this way. Republicans never had to lose their lead on the generic ballot. I don't care if at the end of the day, the generic ballot is D+4, they barely lose the House and they keep the Senate. I don't give a shit. That never had to happen. Because almost certainly my own state is going down. A state where I just paid, most people's wealth are tied up in their house. Where I just paid, not too many years ago, to build a new home. Should have stayed in red Florida. We're going to lose the Supreme Court seat. With it, we'll have a 1-seat majority still, but it won't matter because 2 of those votes are squishy-ass little rhinos anyway. And the next time the election comes around, they'll get wiped and lose it anyway. Because here's what they didn't understand. And again, not for nothing, shameless plug of the book, but it's true. That's what Burn It Down is all about. You only had a certain amount of time to win these voters over. You didn't have an infinite amount of time. You can't afford another visceral swing against you. Because you think, well, it always just swings back. No, it always doesn't swing back. I'm sick of hearing about these 92 years and it's been back and forth in a midterm. That's bullshit. I did a whole show on it. Please go and reference it. We have had decades of party dominance in this country. Decades. The pendulum swing and the tendency of an incumbent party to lose their midterm is a modern artifact that started in 1994. Now, Roosevelt did have one midterm after the New Deal and his attempt to pack the Supreme Court, one midterm where the American people, he suffered blowback. And the American people handed him a house, a conservative house. They rolled back a lot of the New Deal, thank God, because we talk about the New Deal like it was great today. But in truth, it was bigger than what has survived. And it wasn't as popular fully as we make it out to be. Anyway, the American people gave a Republican House and said, roll some of this shit back. He's lost his mind. They did. But because it was such a the Democratic coalition at the time was so strong, they got wiped out the next cycle. In fact, the Republican Revolution, can somebody please answer? I hope you can. Was such a big deal in 1994 because how many years did Democrats control Congress before the Republican Revolution of 1994? Does anybody know? Come on, locals. You should know this from, we read Emerging Democratic Majority and shit. Come on. Yeah, I could go back to the Florida skies where there are giant triangles named. Right. By the way, I love this thing, man. Thank you for that. I really absolutely love it. But come on, somebody's got to know. I don't even see any typing in there. What are you guys Googling? How many decades did Democrats control Congress before the 1994 Republican Revolution? Do I have to go to YouTube? Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you, Casey. 45 years. 4 decades. Over. Yeah, Eod, thank you. Jesus, Eod, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Why did not many people not know this? It was over 40 years. Before the Roosevelt coalition, which started around, 4 decades is more, Casey. But you're still technically right because the Senate stayed in their hands. So before the Roosevelt coalition, we had the Hoover and Coolidge. Democrats didn't take the presidency or Congress from Republicans in the Reconstruction era for decades until a bourbon Democrat, or Bourbon, however you want to say it, bourbon, by the name of Grover Cleveland, won the White House. It was Ulysses S. Grant, which was disgustingly corrupt. And he was supposed to basically pass it off to I think it was Sherman. And instead, this other guy who was picked to speak for him at the Republican convention, his name is James Garfield, goes to the microphone, and it's debated by historians. Did James Garfield mean to do this? Did he? I think he did. And he got up there and he gave, because things were different back then at the conventions, a barn burner of a speech. Basically saying if we want to hold the trust in the American public, we've got to do away with this patron corruption that has infected our party. And everybody's like, oh, what is this guy saying? Like, fucking Grant is drunk. He's right there. Chester Arthur's right there. Senator from New York, who was his patron, is right there. And they go to vote and run the first ballot. And what happens? A delegate from Pennsylvania stands up and says, James Garfield instead. And nobody won the first ballot. Ballot after ballot after ballot after ballot. And James Garfield eventually, even though he didn't even submit his name, is nominated for the Republican nomination for president. Really fascinating story. He picks Chester Arthur to be his running mate halfway against his will. But he needed the donors of New York to raise money. He was from Ohio. He was a farmer from Ohio. And nobody in the Republican Party, because the big wigs, the donor class, was not happy. So he picks Chester B. Arthur, who is basically a magistrate who took all the taxes from the ports that came in through the port of New York. I mean, that is who bankrolled the Republican Party back then. He eventually goes after reform, civil service reform, to remove the patron system from being blatantly open and in your face and corrupt. And Chester Arthur will wind up taking his position because, of course, unfortunately, as this country has done to many good men who we don't deserve, Garfield is shot and killed in a train station going to meet his wife in New Jersey. He's killed by a nutcase who worked on his campaign, who wanted a job in his administration and didn't get it. He was what we probably now understand to be bipolar and manic. It's tragic. He survived for a while, too. He must have been in horrible pain. In fact, he gets on the train anyway later and goes to be with his wife, and he'll die on the Jersey Shore. In bed with the two doors open, the French doors open, looking at the ocean together. Chester Arthur becomes president, and he finishes what Garfield started, much to the dismay of his mentor and his party. They're pissed. But he doesn't get to do much more. And when he dies, Garfield's vision dies with him. And they go back to being scumbags, and they betray the American people. And in response, a house cleaning, corruption rooter outer, whatever you want to call it, who started as a mayor and then became governor of New York, overwhelmingly is elected, and his name is Grover Cleveland. By the way, Grover Cleveland is the only other president to serve 2 terms, to win non-consecutive terms, other than Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a lot in common, or did. Doesn't have shit in common with him now, unfortunately. Why? Because Grover would never have done what Donald Trump is doing and has done. He hated the C word. And unfortunately, like 8 months from now, we're all going to be able to openly use the word. Because Democrats are going to have magnifying glasses of every orifice in his body and the orifices that surround him in his inner circle. And you're all going to find out things that I wish you didn't know. Anyway, Garfield serves that first term and cracks into the guilds. And the guilds want something called free silver. And it's a whole spiel. I don't want to get into it, but he's like, nope, can't do it. If you do, you're going to cause a financial crisis. I understand what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work. And just let the market be the market. You know what really works? Free markets, actual free markets that you don't F with because you got powerful friends in high places. Just leave them alone. They don't listen to him. We're like, we're sick of this Boy Scout. All right, he got some stuff done. He can, tout he did success for people. Now get the hell out of here. And they engineer his defeat, and he's defeated. 2 years after his defeat, guess what they do? Cause an economic meltdown of epic proportions because they did exactly what he told them not to do. Currency speculating, disgusting scumbags who just greedy as hell can't get enough money. And even they were begging Grover to come back and fix it. Even they begged him to. But here's where he'll differ from Donald Trump. He did. Grover may be the only good man that didn't get killed, Jennifer. I think it was Jennifer. Who said it before? Oh, Radiohead said it. Maybe the only one, Radiohead, Grover Cleveland's the only one who didn't get murked because he was a good guy trying to make a difference. Or attempted murk. I don't know. Actually, they may have tried to kill Cleveland. I don't know. I have to go check that out. I mean, obviously, they tried to kill Teddy Roosevelt, so he's off the list. You know what saved Teddy Roosevelt? In his pocket? And that son of a bitch got shot and finished his speech. What kind of a tough son of a bitch gets shot in the chest and finishes his speech? How remarkable is that? That's Teddy Roosevelt for you. It's funny. I don't know if maybe some of you heard this, maybe you don't. But if you go to the White House when a Democrat is president, the Roosevelt Room is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And it's like a weird shrine to the guy. You go to the White House when Donald Trump is president, and he removes all the Franklin Delano Roosevelt stuff, and he keeps it the Roosevelt Room. He just makes it the Teddy Roosevelt Room. And it's nothing but Rough Rider stuff everywhere. Although he does keep the fish on top of the fireplace, which I believe JFK put there. Really, really interesting. The president's wife, the Christmas with Melania is like a whole other ball game. The White House just looks totally different. I mean, the Chaucer look, the classy look. I'm Team Melania. Even as mad as I ever am of Donald Trump, I'm still Team Melania. She's amazing. She is amazing. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did this really happen today? I have to play this if this happened. Is this a video? You have this for me? Oh my God. This is what I'm talking about, though. These fucking people they're not serious. You ask a guy this, he comes onto your program, and you actually ask a guy this? First of all, I'll tell you right now, Jesse, if you ever did this to me in a video, when I see you, I'm going to slap you in your mouth. I mean, that's me. I mean, I can't believe he did this to this guy. I'm going to watch this. We're all going to watch this together because I just don't believe it. If this is true, guys, I'm old school. This is fighting word shit right here. All right. I'm not kidding. This is fight. You do this and try to humiliate me like this in public. When I see you again, you're going to catch one. You're going to catch one. You guys ready for this? Viewer discretion. Please watch out for your children being in the room because they may not know what this word means.
I am. So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay? I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised? Yeah, but I mean, that's okay.
You told me, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That note was wrong. They said Jesse asked El Sayed if he was circumcised. That's not what happened here. This crazy socialist son of a bitch wants to justify cutting off the penises of perfectly normal and healthy young boys and is equating it to circumcision. Let me let you in on a little secret, El Sayed. Circumcision is healthy, and that's why God told the Hebrews to do it. Covenant my ass. He wanted to make sure they multiplied without getting... You disgusting son of a bitch. Are you really equating child mutilation because of your sick ideology with circumcision? Ladies, by the way, the mystery's over. You don't have to worry about that shit. Run. You don't have to wonder about this guy. Run. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Is this serious? Is this Radiohead? Is this serious? Did he serious? I know, like, oh, he wrote, oh, El Sayed, laugh out loud. Like, is this supposed to be, are you seriously equating the act of circumcision, a biblical command from God to the Hebrews to make sure that they were sanitary and could procreate correctly? Are you seriously equating removing the foreskin with removing the entire organ, you idiot? These people are sick. By the way, this is a great time to point out that for the anniversary of Charlie's assassination, we're going to run another political violence survey, and we're going to show trends, because I will ask additional questions, but I intend to ask the same questions as last year, so we can see if the situation has gotten better or worse. Because something tells me it hasn't gotten any better. I can't believe what I just heard. I legit am. It is hard to surprise the People's Pundit these days. I have been around for a while. It is hard to surprise me anymore, folks. That I just can't believe what I heard. Let's just go back. Jesse, I hope you clean this guy's clock. I hope he's... Yeah, Iyad, can I please just say that? This is a Muslim, bro. This dude doesn't believe any of this shit. Same thing happened in Michigan. You remember? Let's celebrate how it's all the liberals were happy. Look, a majority Muslim city council. This is so inclusive. And they're like, that's great. Yeah, it is. Now get the hell out. We're taking the gay pride flag down. We want all of you sissies out of here. This guy is Muslim. He doesn't believe any of this shit. I'll say it. I'll say it out loud 100%. I don't care. I don't care. He doesn't believe this. He's Egyptian. He's a Muslim. How many penises are you chopping off in Egypt, El Sayed? Bro. And by the way, for all the people attacking Jack Posobiec, let me just let you in on something. That race in Michigan is only tight because Jack Posobiec got them a bunch of material that they didn't even know about. These idiots at the NRSC, they didn't even know this guy had a podcast where he said all this crazy shit. Thank you, Jack Posobiec. So shut your fat, bald, disgusting mouth, Mark Levin. TPUSA is not going to fire him. What have you done, you fat piece of shit, other than cost seats all over the country with your stupid-ass war? Jack is on the ground every day fighting. He even makes me a little sick sometimes with his pandering I can't stand and his gaslighting, but he's just trying to stay positive. Behind the scenes, the guy's a warrior. You haven't done shit. You've never done shit, but sit there and cry and bitch behind your microphone like a fat, ugly little troll. Let's go back to this. Full screen layout. Let's go. What's going on here? Let's go back.
Personal question.
Okay.
Doctor.
So you probably should want to move on. You probably should want to move on.
And circumcision's different than castration.
I think it's a problem.
It's castration, dude. You're talking about you're equating removing the foreskin with castration. This is crazy.
Problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between. I am.
So you think
it's a problem? It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between.
Why does that keep happening?
I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on. You probably should want to move on.
And circumcision.
I just had to replay it again because I couldn't believe what I heard. I'm legit stunned. Like, and this guy's probably going to win. Hopefully he keeps coming out and saying shit like that. Like, listen, he wasn't going to win the Fox Boomer Cons anyway. The question is, can we get this out and for people to see? Because, like, I don't even know. Guys, I am like dead speechless. These people will put you all in a hole. These are very, very troubled people. This isn't a difference of opinion, and he's full of shit. I'm going to say this one more time for Mediaite out there. He's full of shit. He's Egyptian. He's a Muslim. He doesn't believe in any of this. He doesn't believe in gay marriage. He's full of shit. He'd be the worst Muslim on the planet if he did. Believe in gay marriage and chopping off your ding-a-ling so you can pretend to be a girl. They don't do that shit. Pandering bull, man. Thank you for sending me that clip. Circumcision. Oh my God. Wow. Netflix released a short series about Garfield called Death by Lightning in November. Yes, they did actually. I was talking about that with Book Club, and I don't think I really got to finish it, but I did. Somebody in Book Club brought it up. I was talking to Elon in Book Club about it. I believe it was Elon. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to go search it and go watch it because I don't sleep very well. So while everybody else is sleeping peacefully in my house, I'm usually binge watching something 2 o'clock in the morning and trading. I'm not kidding. I just don't sleep well. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Terrible, knucklehead, terrible. I can't get over it. I still can't get over this. Castration. Are you, to justify castration, are you circumcised, Jesse? Personal question, doctor. That was good, Jesse. That was good. Listen, I'm sorry because I was told that you asked him about that. And I was like, dude, bad luck. Because not for nothing, Jesse, in my defense, bro, like that's something you Fox News people would say because you're just like totally clueless. But that was good, bro. That was good. But let's be real. Do I have to bring up the Mike Watley video? Often, you already got as much. I don't understand what Michael Watley is doing. You already got as much out of the Fox BoomerCon vote. You squeezed as much blood from that stone as you're going to get, homie. Okay? It's not worth going on Fox to say something stupid like you did. Oh, I'm getting blown up here. Must be a good thing. The problem is, if it wasn't Mike Rogers, bro, okay? Let me just say this. If it wasn't for Mike Rogers, Republicans would actually be winning this race right now. Like, really winning it. Not fake Fox Bowl winning it. Like, really winning it. But because they had to run a surveillance state, deep state bitch, this is what we're going to get. A guy who couldn't even beat Elise Stefanik with Donald Trump on the ballot. A man who is now saying that he's got Democrats coming out of the woodwork for him when those aren't even the Democrats he needs. It's not even true. You're getting what? A couple suburban women in Oakland, where you ran behind Donald Trump, by the way. Affluent Oakland. Yeah, you did. That's not the problem. The problem is El Sayed is winning like 14% of Trump's vote in counties like Saginaw and Macomb. That's the problem. By the way, to this day, if you model Macomb County, you'll see that it's modeled about 53% Democrat, even though Trump wins it with like 56, 58% of the vote. How does he do that? How did Donald Trump do that? Was it being for the Patriot Act? Was it being for mass surveillance? Was it being for forever wars? Was it being for free trade? Republicans have not won a U.S. Senate seat in Michigan since 1994. Again, the Republican Revolution. Nice guy. He went on to get his ass kicked 6 years later anyway by Debbie Stabenow. You may remember her. She's the one who left the seat open. She was there the whole time. Before 1994, you'd have to go back to 1972 before you will find another example of a Republican winning a U.S. Senate seat in Michigan. Blah, 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 blah. Bigger question is, why does Fox want him on there to keep us distracted and pissed? That's a good that's a good point. Fox is the master of scumbags who take your eye off the prize. They get what they want. You do not get what you want. And then they try to make you hate the black and brown people because you did. That's what Fox News does. That's Fox News' entire business model. They oppose the people in the Republican Party that you want to win. When they do win, they play chameleon, hijack it, ruin it, sabotage it, in some way, shape, or form, they wreck it. And then they blame black and brown people for it. That's Fox's shtick. The same black and brown people who just voted for you in the last election. You know what we need to do? Deport Venezuelans, man. You mean the people who voted 75-25 for Donald Trump in South Florida, you stupid piece of shit? Those Venezuelans? You want to throw out Cubans next? Oh, no, can't do that. Because some of those Cuban families are now Big Sugar and Big Auto in South Florida, and they give you money. So we can't say that. But those poor Venezuelans who ain't got no money, you got to throw them out. Man, look at all those Muslims in Dearborn, man. You mean Dearborn who just voted for Donald Trump? That was a one-off. No, stupid. It's an opportunity that you blew. Imagine if Lyndon Johnson said, that's just a one-off with the black vote. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yes, Archer does have a chance. I just don't see it as bullish on Archer as Barnes does. But yes, technically, and we'll see how things iron out here, but technically, yes, I think people don't really understand how bad the environment is. Look, in specials, the midterms are here. It's been worse for Republicans than people expected. The polls, the generic ballots are only as good as the model they're making. And these electorates, guys, are crazy Republican. I mean, I don't know where they're getting them from. I just don't. If you're morning consult, honestly, you can't even believe what they say. You can't. They're looking for another round of funding and they want to go public. Uh-oh, blew the news. They can't afford to understate Republicans again. So when you've been looking at like Emerson in the New York Times and me and others, and we're like D plus 8 to 11 or something like that, and then morning consults like D plus 2. That's why. It's funny so many people now suddenly believe morning consult because they've modeled themselves so Republican. I can tell you right now, they probably throw out like 40% of their panel responses every day because they're garbage. They don't voter validate and they're playing games. They can afford to understate Democratic support. They cannot afford to understate Republican support again. Because if they do, it could jeopardize their little round in IPO. And it's not a little round. That is a $2 billion valuation that company has. It's no joke. Don't cut your big stick either way. Well, you know, when I was little, it didn't matter. 3-time Trump voter, went to his first inauguration, many rallies. Now I'm with Fuentes. I don't trust Vance. He'll never go against his tech donors. Just raised $5 million from the corrupt 1789 capital. Very telling. We need a Caesar. I'm curious, though, Ed, what you thought about his speech. Because I'll be honest with you, it was a big haul. He raised $5 million at the home of Arthur Schwartz. I didn't like some of the people in the company either. Just saying. And by the way, I don't think what they did to Amar is very good. Wait a minute, what's his name? Hold on one second. Why do I keep forgetting this guy's name? Oh, terrible. And I insult people when I do this. They're like, yo, man, screw you, dude. Omid Malik. I don't think, he's 1789 capital investor. I don't like what they do to Omid. By they, I mean the Israel First crowd. They're like, this is a Qatari who funded Tucker. Dude, he was a partner, dummy. He didn't fund. He was an investor, and then Tucker bought him out anyway, which many people cannot do. So stupid. And for people who just like don't know how to read a filing, that document that Laura Loomer and others keep passing around to make them say like, Slotkin? Didn't I say who did I say? Oh, I might have said sometimes I mess Alyssa Slotkin up with what's her name? Yeah, it was Alyssa Slotkin Rogers ran against. Yes. I don't know. I thought I did say Slotkin. I bet you I said Elise Stefanik because I always mix them up. Did I say Elise Stefanik? Did I say Elise Stefanik? Can you text me? I said Elise Stefanik? I think so. I bet you anything I said Elise Stefanik because like I just mix them up sometimes. But anyway, back to the task at hand here. What that paper says is not that Tucker is funded by Qatar. Like this, some of this is like amateur shit, but then like somebody like Mark, I did say Elise Stefanik. I meant, of course, guys, Alyssa Slotkin, who another CIA spook, by the way. Everything Alyssa Slotkin touched turned to shit. And yet she got promotion after promotion after promotion and then ran for Congress on the back of that resume. She literally failed at every task force she led. Literally. Iraq, a complete, you know what. Failure. But anyway, yeah. Ahmed, whatever, Malik, he gave Tucker some money, obviously, for Tucker Carlson News Network, TCN. And this idea like, oh, this is money from Qatar is, I think some people are just full of it. Like Mark Levin, he knows that that's not what that means. He doesn't care, though, because he's a lying piece of shit. If you listen to Mark Levin still, you're a stupid person. I'm sorry, but you are. And I'm not even like, I don't care anymore if I hurt your feelings because so many people do listen to other stupid people that we're in the position we're in. Republicans should have an 8-point lead on the generic ballot right now, and we should be adding 54, 55 seats. Like that's what we should be looking at in the Senate. And we should have had little fairies in South Carolina and in Indiana under our thumb because Trump was so popular. They couldn't, if they wanted to, they couldn't have resisted with redistricting. And Republicans would be looking at like, oh, we're going to win 240 seats. But they're cowards. They're cowards. And they're stupid and stupid people. They needed a war instead of taking care of the American people who voted for them. And who the hell asked Mark Levin his opinion anyway? That douchebag supported everybody else but Donald Trump his whole damn career. Since Trump came down the escalator. In 2016, he even said, I'd never vote for Donald Trump. What changed? Mark Thiessen too. And now Trump is like reduced to tweeting these guys out when I wish one day the day will come. One day the day will come where I will be free to plaster stuff everywhere. And it's just going to look, you're going to look dumb, man. You're just going to look dumb. Sad. It's sad. If you would have listened to the people who have always been fair to you, always been honest with you, you would have a lead on the generic ballot right now. Your approval rating would probably be even, if not positive. There's no reason Trump couldn't have a positive approval rating right now. The polls aren't fake, dude. He's in the 30s. Now, is he at 33 like Reuters and American Research Group says? American Research Group disappeared after 2016 because they were defunct and failed at everything. And then suddenly reemerge in these like weird times to dump all these polls out. And then they get coverage like crazy. Shall we go back to the Nikki Haley +2 in New Hampshire? Let's go back to the Nikki Haley. Well, let's see if they fixed it, actually. 2024 New Hampshire Republican primary polls. Real Clear Politics, which might not even aggregate them anymore, honestly. They don't aggregate them. Nope, they don't. Let's see if I can find an aggregate that isn't New Hampshire 2024 election poll tracker. All polls. New Hampshire GOP primary polls. Here we go. Let's see. Where are you? You didn't aggregate it. There it is. Oh, no, they did change it at the end. January 18th through the 20th, they put out a Trump +2. All right. That's cute. Here it is, though. I'll show it to you just to show it to you. I remember it. Dude, I got a good memory. Some things, they're not always perfect. But I do remember this poll, which I proceeded to tear into. And then the president himself was like, thanks, Rich. You're welcome, Mr. President, because that poll was bullshit. Trump obviously went on to defeat Nikki Haley by about this margin. As a matter of fact, 11 points, if I remember correctly, right? What was it, guys? 11 points? Let's go back real quick. Oh, my God. What did he? No, he didn't win by that. I know he didn't win by that. I'd have to go back and look at the actual result, but it wasn't that. It was 11 points, I believe. Right? 11? Something like that, guys? Believe so. So listen, I understand your position, Ed. I do. I looked at that attendance sheet. I was like, ugh. Now, his speech was awesome. In Ohio, it was awesome, but the attendance sheet was bad. Oh, my God, it's 10 o'clock. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go grab something to eat. The Public Polling Project link is in the description below. If you did contribute, thank you. If you haven't and can, please do. If you can't, please share, okay? I'll put it in the thing. We're going to do, and actually Barnes told me to share the other one. It probably is better. He's probably right, but whatever. I'll just put this one in here for right now. Getter coming your way. Rumble coming your way. Locals coming your way. You have it though, locals. I mean, I'll give it to you again, but you have it. And then YouTube coming your way. All right, we're going to do, of course, all of our normal trackers, except for economic confidence. We did that in the last survey. All the normal stuff, the White House focus tracker, approvals, direction of country, the generic ballot. We'll do the generic Senate ballot again, which is awesome. We're also going to be redirecting because if it ends up in a state which has a Senate race, we're going to oversample it. We are going to pull some Senate races. And then we are also going to do head-to-head matchups to identify how much of a threat a potential independent ticket is. And I think I'm also going to put Vance as an independent and Rubio as the Republican ticket. The reason I'm doing it is not because I think it'll happen. I want to know how much is explicitly directed toward the administration versus how much is just generic, I want to support somebody else for once. And that's what I want to do, yeah. So that, I mean, it's going to be a big poll. And then, of course, the focus tracker, the war stuff. We're just going to take the gas stuff out. If you haven't seen it, by the way, go check out our last poll because we were the only ones who asked gas prices. I mean, specific tiers of gas prices. Would you pay this much? Would you pay this much? Do you think it's worth it? Is it worth fighting or not? And I mean, guys, we're now essentially back to 70 opposed, 20 support, where we started before the war. There was a mild, I have to say mild, because by historical standards, it was mild. They got a rally around the flag effect to the point where more people supported it than before the war because people wanted to back Donald Trump's play. They never got positive. It was always about opposed plus 8 to 10, even when it was closer. And now it's blown back out to like opposed plus 40, 50. I mean, this is to be expected because wars always do this. Support for wars. This is the way it always works. And this president didn't even bother to try to sell the war before he started it. And that is a gross political miscalculation. No president has ever tried to do that before. And Donald Trump is unfortunately going to find out the hard way why that is. All right. Sucks. Yeah, it's going to be a big poll, bro. Big poll, Shadow. Big poll. You know, I get that joke quite a bit. I actually had somebody flip out at me the other day, and he was, F you and your big poll, and it's a tiny poll. And I'm just like, oh my God. And it sucks. That's right. And I'm like, oh, you're so brilliant. You're such a quick one. Yardatch, what do you make of Kushner's meeting with Akam Jeffries? I'm with Matt Gaetz on this. You're groveling, bro. Jared Kushner wasn't supposed to be anywhere near this administration. Jared Kushner is the one who told his father-in-law not to do what John Ratcliffe said in the 2020 election. Tell everybody about China and tell them now because they'll leave you alone. And if you do tell them, then that's crossing a line and the deep state will come after you. Well, guess what? They fucking did anyway, didn't they? Jared Kushner is just making money hand over fist, and he should be nowhere near this fucking administration. I'm so sad Paul Dans didn't rally for round 2. Me too. Dan's but blunt. You can lead a jackass to water, but you cannot make them drink. That's right. That's my old expression. Thanks for remembering that. He'd lose again, not because his message is wrong or money deficit unbeatable. He'd lose because other consultants running typical campaigns like generals fighting around war like it's Desert Storm. Yeah. That's why I gave up in politics now that Trump went Brutus, but all the alternative literally went with some consultants. I've advised enough candidates and done this. I went, F it. Y'all are hopeless. A lot of people feel like you. New member here. Yo, welcome. Texas first. I'm one of the suckers who voted Cornyn as I fell for the electability argument, but I sucked it up now in campaigning for the state GOP. What I've seen in the past 2 months, one, Paxton is very popular among the base. This is why I was arguing Paxton actually is the better candidate because Cornyn, we're having a turnout problem, and we need somebody who has the bona fides that gets the base out. Because if you can't get your base out, we're done because we're not going to win the middle. We're never, guys. Republicans aren't going to win the middle. We're going to get cooked. So I'm glad to hear this. One, Paxton popular with the base, even with Hispanics, and many voters I talked to said they wouldn't vote if it was Cornyn. Yeah, about 30% of Texas Republican voters told us they would not show up if it's Cornyn. That's a huge problem. Tallarico's enthusiasm is exaggerated, and many black voters told me they don't want to vote for him because of Crockett. Yes. Are you seeing similar results in Texas polling? Yes. He's the strongest one, and I thought we'd have him down, but it was Texas first, 96. Remarkably strong, even though at the time we had polled the last time, he really didn't get any money in, and now they've started to catch up and some money's getting spent. But it was simply from the base saying, I'll vote for Ken Paxton. And I'm actually worried they'll leave other spots blank. I'm not kidding. I'm worried about undervotes in Texas. But this is the one state. I didn't poll Maine, though, so it's possible this could happen in Maine, too. But this is the one state where Democratic voters were actually not they're on par with Republicans, and that shouldn't be. Everywhere else, Democrats are much, much more expanded. They're punching above their belt. They're much more expanded amount of the electorate than they should be or have been in the past. And in Texas, that's not the case. So Republicans have snapped out of it, and they're like, yo, we're not losing this seat. And that's good. Now, I will say Maine, there is a movement to try to get Graham Plattner as a write-in. I don't know if Graham's trying to sabotage. If I was Graham, I'd sabotage. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I would absolute party first my ass. What they did to Graham Plattner was horrific. I don't support or endorse that at all. If you're a Republican and you jumped on that bandwagon, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. And you're a hypocrite. But the fact is, they screwed Graham simply by making a phone call, and nobody would work for him. So if he didn't leave the race, he would have been walking around alone. No communication manager, no campaign manager, no pollsters willing to work with you. Nobody, no door knocking companies willing to sign a contract with you. It was horrible. No text message vendors, no media people willing to pick up the phone to book ads, even if you were still running. Fundraising. What they did to him was just disgusting. And if they lose because of what's going on, it serves them right. and I hope this is a lesson to Democratic voters, they don't actually support democracy. They don't actually respect self-governance. You're a dupe. You're a means to an end for them. And they are perfectly willing to disenfranchise you. In case you didn't notice with the whole switcheroo in 24, they're perfectly willing to disenfranchise you. I feel bad that you found out that lesson the hard way. Record primary turnout in the state of Maine for Graham Plattner. Record primary, and he won with 80 almost % of the vote. And they did that to him. All because of some Zionist right-wing activist nut job who got pumped and dumped. I'm not kidding. And was pissed over it. That's what happened. Read between the lines. Raped. Sure. That's why you tell your friend that you're super mad you were raped. No. You tell your friend that he slept with anyway, that she was stupid to sleep with her because you just found out how many girls he's been with. And, oh, he didn't call me the next morning. So he broke into your house and he raped you when he was drunk, and you're pissed he didn't call you the next day. Now, I know rape victims have weird behaviors, and sometimes they're inexplicable. Kiss my ass. I know exactly what happened here. And, oh, by the way, her parents are literally settlers occupying the West Bank. And he's not for AIPAC, and he's not pro-Israel. He's not anti-Israel either. He just doesn't support. Well, he may be. He may be. I don't know what's in the guy's heart. But he just didn't support settlements in the West Bank, which I do not either. It's not your fucking land. And you're killing American citizens anyway, or just trying to get to Zone A, which isn't even a zone. This is disgusting, honestly, President Trump. This is disgusting. You said Americans wouldn't be suckers anymore. You said you wouldn't let foreign nations kick us around and push us around. Not only are you letting Israel do that, a puny, tiny nation of 9 million, they've murdered 5 of our citizens just trying to get to their homes in the West Bank in an uncontested zone, and you haven't done shit other than try to cover it up. Tell me how that's better from Joe Biden. Tell me. Disgusting. And Rick Scott, you're a fucking disgrace for not picking up the phone for that kid's father. You're lucky I don't live in Florida anymore, and that's not my kid. You're a disgrace. And Rick, I like you, dude. I've always liked you. That makes me sick to my stomach. Do better. Do better. Stop taking AIPAC money. You don't fucking need it anyway, Rick. You weren't even raised with a father. You were raised with a mother who busted her ass to make sure that you'd be a man of means. Is that the kind of father you imagined having around when you were a kid? Really disappointed me, man. Really disappointed me. Taqiyya, the Muslim doctrine that allows them to lie or be deceitful to non-Muslims, especially when in conflict or war. Owen, that's a good point. He's full of shit, and you know he's full of shit. He does not support castration, chemical or physical, for the crazy fanatic trans movement. He doesn't. There's zero chance, Owen. They took the gay pride flag down. You think they're going to... Come on, bro. Stop. This is just ridiculous. Like, I can't even believe people are stupid enough to believe this. I'm getting real jaded in my older age, man. I really am. How could you believe El Sayed is some progressive hero on these issues? Give me a break. The unending warfare and conflict against non-Muslims believers that is warfare by all in any means and never stops. This is where I think you and me may be the only consistent people here. I've grown very I understand people are mad at Israel, but I've grown very uncomfortable with some people on the right's almost embrace of anything Eastern. You know what I mean? Like, the fact of the matter is, to me, that's why I'm so pissed at the fact that we squandered the Dearborn opportunity, because if you're really going to stop immigration, you're going to put bans on moratoriums on immigration from countries with majority Muslim populations that don't have screening behaviors. You had an opportunity to assimilate the population that you have here. Let's cut the bullshit. You can't even throw out illegals who are here illegally. Those people are here legally, and they are now members of our communities. They're here, and they're here to stay. So you either engage with them and assimilate them, or you fall victim to them having 10 children to your 1.5. Which is it going to be? Instead, what do? We start a war for Israel and turn them off forever. You guys are retarded. You're fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. And this will be your disgrace legacy for the rest of your life. I mean, Iran is actually a high trans country. If you caught being a gay man, you can get out of death penalty by claiming you're a woman, and they will help you. And there is a permanent way. He's from Egypt, though. There's a difference. There is. But that is funny. Yeah, he's from El Sayed is from Egypt. He is a Sunni, not a Shia, which is very different. And a lot of people don't realize that, actually. There are a lot of, I would say that it's fair to say that there is a robust queer culture in Tehran. Yeah, he won by 11. I thank you, Ayad. I thought so. See? I thought so. I may get things wrong here and there, but I was like almost like 99.8% sure that Trump won New Hampshire by 11. But ARG came out of nowhere before. They weren't even polling that much, and they were just like, Trump +2, Harris on the rise. I mean, not Harris. Trump +2, Haley on the rise. Same difference. Harris, Haley, whatever. Tomato, potato, potato. All right, let's get cooking. It's 10:05. It's late. All right. Last one. El Sayed sounds awful until you notice Rogers wants a surveillance state controlled by Israel. Don't care. Still campaigning for Democrats. This is a Trump voter, by the way, people. That's how bad you fucked up. And I can't complain. I mean, I can't blame, because the fact of the matter is a lot of people are looking at it like, well, which one is going to at least give me something? And unfortunately, Republicans have given nothing to anybody but billionaires, oligarchs, and Israel first. That's it. It's the only people who benefited from this administration. The American beef industry just took it in the you-know-what. Farmers and cattle ranchers were against what Trump did. They tried to stop it and oppose it, but they didn't have enough money to hire an antitrust lawyer. And the antitrust division, which has been corrupted by people like Mike Davis, have fucked you. They fucked the most MAGA of the MAGA. Live Nation, who does that hurt? Who's buying country music tickets from Ticketmaster these days? You fucking Riris. $200K a month per woke corporation to fuck you. Dudes cashed in millions of dollars and apparently felt entitled to do that since he went on a couple podcasts during lawfare, including this one. Disgraceful. What I'm trying to do is not really attack anybody. I'm trying to explain to you guys that, like, you got it coming. Don't puss around and bitch and moan and cry and complain Wednesday morning. You had it fucking coming. And you think you're getting a pardon, bro? I don't know. I heard you might not get one. I don't know. They're coming for you. They're all coming for you. See the report the other day? Democrats are more prepared this time. My girlfriend, Esmeralda, oh my God, I didn't even get a chance to respond to the bald, air-punching, pussy Dan Bongino. This guy and anti-Trump candidates. I haven't worked for a single anti-Trump candidate, you stupid idiot. What are you talking about? But I did swoop in to try to help your boy at the last minute after you fucked it up. What are you talking about? This is textbook MAGA at this point. You got a bunch of grifters like that who cashed in being total frauds, and they're all attacking the well-meaning people who have always put that before themselves. That is the epitome of MAGA and what's happened. The epitome of it. All right. I didn't take a $2 million Rumble contract to rant and rave about the importance of the Epstein issue, only to get in power and then completely pussy out and then lie to everybody about it and have my name come up in the New York Times saying, oh, Rich was right, privately behind closed doors, when you weren't crying about how your wife was going to leave you because the job was so hard every day. You really want to get into this, bro? We can get into this. You are a fucking joke in that administration. After you left the room, everybody laughed at you because all you did was cry all day like a pussy about how the hours were too long and your wife was going to leave you, dude. It's a running joke. Everyone made fun of you the minute you walked out of the room, and some made fun of you in the room, and you fucking know it. So you really want to have this conversation? No matter what you say I did or what I am or what is this, guess what, bro? I will never go down as a pedophile protector. That's your legacy. You're a disgrace forever, homie. And that's why your podcast, which you rely on solely for income, I do this for fun. Your podcast went from being number 1 to 151. No one gives a fuck about you anymore. Go punch some air because it doesn't punch back. I do. And you can try it anytime. Chump ass motherfucker. Are you kidding me? You're a joke. With your girlfriend, Esmeralda, I assume he meant Emerald, who I met one time in the company of my wife and her husband. And we all got along famously at an event for one of the president's candidates that I was trying to help. Fucking people just lie. They just make stuff up because you can't say, I'm sorry, I'm a fucking loser. They brought me in that room and threatened my poodle, and I was afraid Fifi was going to get the knife, so I caved, man. And then behind closed doors, he's bitching. This Epstein thing's going to kill us. If only you had the balls to say in public what you tried to say in private, maybe the president wouldn't have been hurt. If you had the courage to fight for what you admittedly knew was right, if you actually had the balls to do it, instead of just grifting off it, because that's all you are, dude. You're a professional fucking loser. Have you ever won anything? You got your ass kicked in a campaign. You won a Rumble contract. That's what you won. Bullshitting people. Bannon told me, actually, was like, don't even engage with him because he's such a loser. Just ignore him. But I mean, it's just unfair. What do you bring Esmeralda? What is he talking about? I've been on Emerald's show a couple of times. You just trash a woman like that? Maybe that's why people want to leave you, homie. Maybe you don't know how to respect women. Maybe you just lob bullshit out of your mouth before you fucking think. Maybe you do that to her and she don't want to hear it. You actually, maybe you ever think maybe like it could have been good for you to stay at that job for hours and hours on end. Give her a break from your dumb ass. Ever think of that? I mean, you want to fucking do this? We can do this, dude. What are you going to do? What Mark Levin did with his big expose? Nobody gives a fuck, dummy. I'm sitting here right now. I'm America's most accurate pollster. You're a fucking wannabe. You chump. Pussy. I mean, and he's from that generation too. I mean, bro, at some point you cross a line. You will respect my wife and you will respect my friends or I'll fucking make you. You understand? Chumpy boy? Sniff that shit, bitch. All right. With that in mind, it's 10:12. So there it is. I'm going to peace out. Don't forget, burn it down because dumbasses like him couldn't get the job done. So now they're going to vote for socialists because he let everybody down. You want to do it another way? Mickey Sherrill kicked the shit out of poor Jack because of his dumbass. He couldn't get the job done. And I told them in the White House, don't let him run around attacking everybody on his personal redemption tour. Because number one, it's going to fail anyway. He's going to be a loser. He'll be a pedo protector until the day he dies. People will spray paint that shit on his tombstone when he's dead. That's his future. Do not let them run around, because everybody looks at him like this is exactly the personification of this administration's failures. He will hurt the president. Don't let him do this because he shot his credibility to hell. It's going to hurt you. Well, it did. Debate over. It's done. It happened. Bye-bye, dude. That's me waving goodbye as you fade into irrelevance. All right, burn it down. The link's in the description. The public polling project's in the description. Whatever else. It's all there. Follow the Instagram and the TikTok. Instagram is the same as X, @peoples_pundit. TikTok is peoples.pundit. Truth and Getter, @peoplespundit. But of course, the best place to follow us is right here. I'm sorry for last week with it being down. What a lost opportunity. That Alex Jones interview went nuts. And I'm sure we would add a lot more members of the locals community if locals wasn't down for an hour. Oh, no, more than an hour, almost a day. Dave said, Viva, which is his real name, said that the Rumble and local servers were under some kind of like DDoS attack. I don't know if that's true. I could just ask him. But I don't know if that is true. If it was, I'm not at all surprised. Are you? Are you? Really? I'm concerned. Like, look at that idiot we were just talking about. In case you haven't noticed, I have been pushing off into other platforms because of the research I've done and because of what I've seen. And I'll tell you that real quick before I go. The research is very clear that if I don't branch out into like X and like Instagram and TikTok, and then go back to YouTube and really push YouTube more, which is doing well, I'm going to have to worry about it being burned down, because that's where all of the younger people are. The Facebook generation, the X generation. X, you'd be surprised, even though my following is the biggest on X, you'd be surprised. It isn't viewed. I mean, still there's like more than 2 times the amount of people on X than there is on Truth, according to our research. But Rumble and the rest of them really cannot compete with YouTube at this moment, right? Still, it's just a fact. And you guys know it because being told about us. You have told us about it, but that on top of the comments I've gotten, from people, which is like perfect example. Look who gets multi-million-dollar contracts. Who do those people work for? For a site that started as a free speech site, there is clearly a group of people who are trying to suppress criticisms of certain people and certain places. And I'm just not, number one, I don't really want to be a part of it, but also number two, there's no use like investing that much time in it if that's what ends up happening on those platforms, because I've had it happen to me before, guys. I have had it happen to me before. All right. 10:16, rambling on and on. I'm going to go check the rest of my trades, see what else can be done before midnight. Probably go have a yogurt. It's a high protein yogurt. All right. So before you make fun of me, I take it on. It's on purpose, and I put high protein granola in it. So usually it's like a vanilla yogurt, and then it's like vanilla and blueberry. You guys ever see Kodiak? They make protein pancakes, and you can buy them at the grocery store. It's not like some special order thing. They make a high protein granola, which I then put in the yogurt, and that's how I've lost. Like, big deal. Big part of why I've lost so far like 26 pounds of fat, by the way, because sweet tooth. I have a terrible sweet tooth. You have that at night instead of some garbage, especially after a certain time at night, it'll do wonders for you. Wonders. Especially if you make sure you just stay hydrated and have water instead of garbage in, especially after 6 o'clock. Should do whole shows in this, but it is what it is. All right, with that in mind, I'm going to get out of here. You're going to see the outro run. Going to limit the music here so we can just cut it. But again, the links are in the description. Sign up below. You know the deal. Thanks for watching as always. Really appreciate it. Like and share the videos if you like them. And I will see you guys tomorrow for book club, the primary. We'll make it work. We'll figure this out. We'll squeeze it all in, even if something's got to be shortened. But tomorrow's a busy day. And I'll see you then. Get some rest. Thanks for watching Between the Numbers. Don't forget to share the public polling project.